Good morning, Michigan, and good morning, Stanford. It's so good to see all of you again. I really enjoyed my time with all of the scholars that I got to chat with on Friday at our Zoom party. Shout out to Milani for winning our raffle last week because she got 100% on all of her 4 assignments throughout the week. So, shout out to her. So, we're going to start off with our math club, our 100% club, the scholars who got 100% throughout Friday's quiz on Friday. So let's get into it. So we want to think about who that scholar with 100. What? Who that scholar with 100? So we're gonna think about who are those scholars that got 100 on that Friday math quiz. Here we go. We got Mr. Antonio. Nice job. We got Mr. Diego. Mr. Robinson. All right, gentlemen, coming out, killing the game already. We got Mr. Ronald, another gentleman. Okay, we got Courtney. We got Miss Kalia Williams, and we got Miss Kennedy. Who will join them next week? It looks like our boys have definitely took on the challenge and they're ready to kill the game. Remember, you're more than welcome to go back to your quiz and try as many times as you can to get 100%. You do not have to take the scores you got. Go and continue to try and try again. Also, for your work, go back and complete your work. Everybody can be invited to the party on Friday if you complete your work Monday through Thursday. Here we go. This week, we're going to be talking about modeling decimals with number lines. We're going to be talking about modeling decimals with number lines. Modeling decimals with, I can't hear you, modeling decimals with, good, modeling decimals with number lines. So here are the steps that we're going to use in order to model those decimals on a number line. First, we're going to make one number line. How many number lines are we going to make? One. Good. We're going to think about our endpoints. This is like similar to when we are comparing fractions and we have to make our number lines. It's very similar. So think back to when we're thinking about equivalent fractions or when we're thinking about comparing fractions with number lines. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to think about our endpoints. Here's some things to keep in mind. Look at the decimal point and check if you have a whole number. Remember, this will be in front of the decimal point, or if the fractions listed have a numerator bigger than your denominator. We know if the numerator is bigger than the denominator, we know the fraction is greater than, then what do you think? The fraction is greater than, good, the fraction is greater than 1 whole. So, if yes, your endpoints will be greater than 1. If no, then your endpoints will be 0 to 1. So that means if you don't have any whole numbers, you're going to have 0 and 1. If you do have whole numbers or you do have fractions that are bigger than your denominator, then you're going to have endpoints greater than 1. After you have your endpoints, you need to think about your middle point. What's that middle point in between the two endpoints that you have? So if I have 1 and 3, my middle point would be 2. If I have 0 and 1, my middle point would be 0.5 because that's half of 1. Once you do that, now you have a number line. At the top, we're going to make it our tenths. At the top, we're going to make it our tenths. At the top, we're going to make it our tenths. Woo! At the top, we're going to make it our tenths. Woo! And at the bottom, we're going to label it by hundredths. Label it by. Good. At the top, we're going to have. At the top, we're going to have. And at the bottom, we're going to have. At the bottom, we're going to have. Good. Let's show our first number line. Here we go. First number line example. You have a number line example. The number line is asking you to plot the decimals and fractions on the number line. So plot the decimals and fractions on the number line. Remember, after we look at that number line, which I've already made for you, we need to think about our endpoints. So remember, I'm thinking, do I have whole numbers and do I have fractions that have a numerator bigger than the denominator? So let's look. We have 0.68, we have 3/10, we have 1, we have 60 over 100, we have 60 hundredths, we have 0.9, we have 2 hundredths, we have 0.05, and we have 75 hundredths. So our 0.68 is 68 hundredths, we have 1 as a whole, we have 9 tenths, and we have 5 hundredths. Do I have any whole numbers? Do I have any whole numbers? Yes, I have 1 as a whole number. Does any other fraction or decimal have whole numbers? No. Okay. So if I don't have any other endpoints that's greater than 1, I know that my endpoints are going to be 0 and 1. So now that I have my endpoints, I need to think about my middle point. The middle of 1 is 0.5 or 0.50 because it's by hundreds. So remember, at the bottom, we're doing by hundreds. And at the top, we're doing by tenths. So I have 5 tenths, which is also equivalent to 50 hundredths. Remember, we know how to find that equivalent fraction from what we learned last week. So now that I have these 3 things, I'm just going to fill it in. When we're working between 0 and 1, remember, hundredths are at the bottom. Tenths are at the top. So I have 50 hundredths. I have 5 tenths. I have 10 hundredths, 1 tenth. 20 hundredths, 2 tenths. 30 hundredths, 3 tenths. 40 hundredths, 4 tenths. Remember, we still have that 0.5 and 0.50. Then I have 60 hundredths, 6 tenths. 70 hundredths, 7 tenths. 80 hundredths, oh, Ms. Gordon is getting mixed up. 8 tenths. 90 hundredths, 9 tenths. And then we have 100 over 100, which is also equivalent to 10 tenths. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to include those fractions. That way you can see the resemblance of what each decimal means. 10 hundredths, 1 tenth. You can say it, 20 hundredths, 2 tenths. I can't hear you. 30 hundredths, 3 tenths, 40 hundredths, 4 tenths, 60 hundredths, 6 tenths, 70 hundredths, 7 tenths, 80 hundredths, 8 tenths, 90 hundredths, 9 tenths. There we go. Here's my note at the bottom. You can do decimals or fractions or both. So your number line can be all decimals, can be all fractions, or it can be both. I think sometimes it's easier to do both because as you see in our question, it's asking us to plot decimals and fractions. So let's think about it. We have 0.68, which is also 68 hundredths. So I'm going to look on my number line and think about, where would 68 hundredths lie? Where would 68 hundredths lie? I can tell that I have 60 and 70 hundredths. So I know that 68 hundredths will lie somewhere in between there. Would it lie closer to 70 hundredths or closer to 60 hundredths? Good. If you said it's going to lie close to 70 hundredths, you are correct. Give yourself 2 claps and 2 more. Good. So let's see where we're going to go. Good. That is 68 hundredths. It's going to lie closer to 70 hundredths because it's only 2 hundredths away from 70 hundredths. Now we're at 3 tenths. This is super easy. What decimal is going to go with 3 tenths? Yeah, you're absolutely right. 0.3, which is also equivalent to 0.30. We have we have 1 whole. That's easy. 1 whole. Miss Gordon. See, look, Miss Gordon even messed up on her own. Miss Gordon also messed up. So see, there's mistakes that can happen, but it's also up to you to go back and fix those mistakes, right? So yes, Miss Gordon messed up, and that's okay. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to make a mistake, but long as you catch them and you look back and you think, what am I learning? What do I know? I can fix those mistakes. So right, we have 68 hundredths, we have 3 tenths, and now we have 1 whole. Miss Gordon got mixed up and put it there. It's okay to make mistakes. Go back and try to fix them. Now we're thinking about 60 hundredths. We already see 60 hundredths on our chart. Super easy. And now we're trying to think about 2 hundredths. 2 hundredths. Oh, I messed up. Now we're thinking about 9 tenths. Sorry, 0.9. 9 tenths. Let's see where 9 tenths will lie. That's already on the chart, so we know where it's going to go. When you have decimals or fractions that you automatically know where they're going to go, plot them and cross them out. That way you can spend more time on the harder ones. 2 hundredths. That's harder. I don't see 2 hundredths on my number line. So I'm trying to figure out, where would 200s go? I know I have 1/10 and 10 hundredths. So that's going to tell me that 200s is going to go between 0 and 10 hundredths. Is it going to go closer to 0 or is it going to go closer to 10? Closer to 0 or closer to 10? Because it's going to go closer to 0. And now we have, now we have 200s. Now we have 0.05, which is also equivalent to 500. That's the fraction form of 0.05. Do I have 500s on my chart? No, but I know it's the middle point between what two things do we see? Good. It's the middle point between 0 and 0.10 or 10 hundredths, or 0 and 0.1, which is also 1/10. So I know it's going to go between 0 and 10 hundredths, which is also equivalent to 1/10. Last one we have is 7,500. Super easy. Is 7,500 going to go between 60 hundredths and 70 hundredths, 70 hundredths or 80 hundredths, or 80 hundredths and 90 hundredths? What do you think? Good. If you said between 70 hundredths and 80 hundredths, say whoop, 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 whoop. It's going to go right there between 70 hundredths and 80 hundredths, right in the middle. Let's move on to another example. Now we have another example. Plot the decimals and fractions on the number line. If you look, don't want to erase that off. If you look at our fractions and decimals, what do you notice about them that's different from our example before? What do you notice about them that's different from our example before? Yes, you are correct. They have whole numbers in front of either the fraction or the decimal point. So what does that tell us? Think about that step 2. What does that tell us? If you need to go back to look at your step 2, pause it and rewind it. That's okay. Good. That tells us that our number line will be greater, our endpoints will be greater than 1 or 1 and greater. Our endpoints will be 1 or greater. So let's see what we have. Make your number line. So do this one with me. So if you need to, take a moment, go get you a piece of paper, do this one with me. And you should always have paper when we're doing our videos. That way you can take notes to help you when you're doing your work. Create your number line. Now I'm looking to see what endpoints will I have. I have 1, I have 2, I have 2.5, I have 1.7, I have 1 and 300ths. So I'm thinking, do I have fractions and decimals greater than 1? Yes, you are correct. But is 1 my least endpoint? Yes. So, now I have 2. So can I make 2 my other endpoint? What do you think? I think I can because I see 2 there. I think I hear Ronald disagreeing with me. I also think I hear Germany disagreeing with me, Antonio disagreeing with me, Nicholas disagreeing with me, Kalia disagreeing with me, Kennedy disagreeing with me. You are all correct to disagree with me. Miss Gordon cannot make her second endpoint 2 because if you look, we have a fraction and a decimal that are greater than 2. So let's see what our endpoints will be. If you said 1, that's our beginning endpoint. If you said 3, that's our ending endpoint. And we know, all of us know, what is that middle point? Say it with me on 2. 1, 2. There we go. Our middle point is 2. Make your number line look just like mine. I'll give you about 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8. Make sure it is super neat. 7, 6, 5. Good. 4, 3. I see Cam Brewer is done. I see Cam Shepard is done. 3, 2, nice job, Courtney, and 1. Here we go. Now we're going to add those tick marks. Between each tick mark, we're thinking about tenths. So I have 1, so I have 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths. So that means you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tick marks between 1 and 2. Same thing with 3. You're going to have between 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10 equal spaces, 9 tick marks. My equal space, I have 1, 2, 3. So let's go to my equal. Let's go to my spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 equal spaces, but 9 tick marks to mark those spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And just like our last example, we already know our hundredths are on the bottom, our tenths are at the top. This will look different because now we have a whole number in the front. So be very careful and make sure you place your whole number in your number line. Make yours look like mine. I'm going to go slow through them. Mm-hmm. After 2, you have to add the 2 to that whole number. Going to the top. Uh-oh, I went too fast. Okay, with this one, I'm not really going to do the fractions because at this point, we should know what each decimal means, right? So if I see 1.1, I know that equals 1 and 1/10. If you see 2.40, what does that equal? Good, 2 and 40 hundredths. There's also an example down here. If you see 1.30, that is also 1 and 30 hundredths, because remember that decimal point equals the word and. It equals the word, it equals the word, it equals the word good. Or if you see 1.5, you know that equals 1 and 5/10. So if you want to put the fractions, by all means, please do. But if not, that is also okay. Here we go. So now we're looking at 1.5. I'm looking at the ones that are really easy to plot first. So we have 1 and 5/10, 2 and 3/10, 2 and 500, 1 and 7/10, 1 and 300. So I think the first one I'm going to plot is 1 and 5/10. Let's see if that plots for me. Good, because that's something that's already on my number line that I can see. So 2 and 3/10. I know 2 and 3/10 as a decimal. I know the whole number is 2. And if I think about my place value chart, I know that the tenths place is right after the decimal. So I'm believing that would be 2.3. I am correct. 2 and 500. Something I'm going to come back to. So let's hold 2 and 500 to the end. Let's look at 1 and 7/10. That's already there. Uh-oh. 1 and 7/10, that's already there. This right here is 2 and 3/10. Right now here at 2.10, 2 and 10/10, you have 2 and 10 hundredths. Or you have 2 and 1/10. 2 and 500ths would be between your whole number and 2/10. And then you have 1 and 300ths. It is less than 1 and 10 hundredths. So you have to look and think about what the decimal is and where it would lie. That's all we have. Please make sure if you're confused, you go back and you watch this video. I'm also going to be posting extra videos in your assignments that you should also watch to complete assignments. Please go back and watch these videos. Please take notes. Try your best. If you get something wrong, go back and try again. It is okay. No one is upset. Try your best. You're going to do great. Get it? Got it? Good. I am so happy to see all of the amazing work you're going to do. If you need me, call me, text me. I am here. I love you all so, so much. Have an amazing, amazing week, and I can't wait to see all of your beautiful work. Talk to you soon.